8 years ago, I was riding a bicycle down this road and noticed a castle through the woods. And made a few pictures and wrote a Facebook status that it could be a crazy idea to have an R&D facility inside a refurbished castle and a little garage outside to build our cars, which was the plan back then. I also wrote that the probability of that happening was pretty much close to zero. Today we are going to talk about our future campus. A huge project that we have been working on for several years already and will be working on in the next couple of years. Welcome to the second season of Mondays with Mate. Within those 8 years, we didn't stand still. We are working on the plans of the campus, and as the company evolved, the campus plan has also evolved and grew. Now we plan to build an R&D, production and testing facility for 2,500 employees, where we will develop, design, produce and test all our products, battery systems, powertrain systems, our hypercars, and many other things that we are going to do for the future. And it's more than just the functionalities of the building. As with everything we do, we strive to do the best. Lots of governments have lured us to build up future capacities in their countries, but we always wanted to prove that it's possible to do it in Croatia. This was the perfect location to do it because it combines a lot of things that work for us. It's nearby our current location. It's just outside of the capital of Zagreb, that's right here. And on the other side of it, we have a forest. So it's in front of the capital city of Croatia, but in the middle of nature. So it shows our brand values where we want for the people to have a high quality of life that's working in Rimac, to be able to live in a big city, but also while working to be exposed to nature right next to the campus. The land plot we are on currently is 200,000 square meters, which is enough for the next few years of our growth. And we have already a very detailed plan of what we want to do here, so we know that we are currently standing in our future vehicle assembly, where we will assemble future Rimac Automobili hypercars. For a project like this, we wanted to have the best possible partners, people that share our values and that will go this journey with us over several years. We made an international competition with architects from around Europe to submit their proposal, and we saw some amazing proposals coming from them. And surprisingly, the Croatian architects were by far, in our opinion, the best. And we chosen to work with the Croatian architects 3LHD studio, which will be our partners in developing this from start to finish. So let's go to 3LHD and see what they came up with. So here we are in the 3LHD studio in Zagreb. I'm joined with Marko, one of the founding partners of the architect studio 3LHD, who is with us in this amazing journey.
Thank you, Mate.
I heard good things about you guys. I spent some time in the hotel that you guys designed, and was one of the most amazing hotel experiences that I had. So I was like, these guys know what they are doing. So let's see how they can build a factory.
Yes, very simple, from hotel to factory.
Yeah, and maybe that's a little bit the challenge of being in Croatia. There's no industry.
Yeah.
So you had to...
It's always a question when they ask you how many, Americans always ask you how many hotels you built before. None. How many factories? None. So it's challenging to be architect in Croatia. You have to, everything, it's like a prototype.
Yeah.
So we are accustomed on this, but same as you, how many cars you did before.
Yeah, exactly. With my amazing previous experience of high school. That's why we maybe dare to do more, or where others would say, oh, this is not a good idea. We are maybe daring to take a bigger risk. Rimac is now far from, the beginnings with the garage of 10, 20 people. Now we are 1,000 people. But it still feels like family. Mm-hmm. And the question is, how do you scale it up? Here in this facility, there will be 2,500 people one day, maybe even more pretty soon. And how do you keep that? And I think space and surroundings are really important for that. Mm. It's not just like the walls around you, it defines in a way or actually the building should reflect our values and our company and our whole ethos.
Yeah, we took your brief.
Which was not so brief.
Yeah, but you know, it's you know, different project, different owners, different briefs. But this was an interesting brief because you had a vision which is not only the buildings itself, but creating a family out of the whole business and scaling up.
From the beginning, it was obvious that, of course, we have to satisfy some things. It's a big R&D facility, big factory, testing. So these were, let's say we had some musts and some things we want, like musts and wants. And the musts were like, you know, how many square meters we have to have for the production, that we want to have everything together, all the production. So the hypercar production and all of the parts of the hypercar that we are doing, plus the high volume production of the batteries and powertrains for other bigger car companies and so on. The research and development next to it, restaurant and so on. But the let's say more softer things were a big focus because I think just making a functional building is relatively easy, but to incorporate it to make something very special is maybe more demanding. So we wanted to have a place where people will enjoy spending their time. That was, I think, the guiding principle around it. It's designed around the employee. The employee should feel great and can't wait to go to work. I was doing a tender for a campus for the first time in my life, and I think we did it quite in an organized way.
It was quite organized. The period to design was very short. It was 1 month. So somehow we made a parachute team in the office. It's always the best way how to do it. You isolate some team, and they were only working on this campus. First, we start always from the landscape. So we had this beautiful castle over here, and then a valley over here, and 2 higher levels. So using these levels, we found out that we can build on a flatland factory. On this, we can build R&D building, and in the center, we can create integrated space for all of them.
This needs to be a very functional building, not just a beautiful one. It needs to ship very complex products in large volumes. So it's designed to produce hundreds of thousands of battery packs per year, very few cars per year, but a very high vertical integration. So what we have here, approximately, this is the logistics area where we have the trucks coming in and the warehouse, which will be a high throughput warehouse for the high volume production projects. Here we have the high volume production, meaning battery packs and powertrain systems and so on. This will be a very automated area, very like classical factory, let's say industry 4.0, very robotized part of the facility. We'll have here a prototyping area to prototype cars and other components, which will be quite big because we have several projects ongoing at the same time. So let's say this half of the building is the high volume industrial area. We have a big area for manufacturing of the metal parts, so machining, CNC, and producing of the tools. Then we have assembly of subcomponents like the axle or the suspension system or the infotainment, like assembly of those kind of components, and then the beautiful production line here.
If you look at this, it looks like actual normal building, and but during design we always forget what is the scale of the building. Somehow everything seems quite usual when you look at your desktop screen. But then when you zoom in, you endlessly have to zoom in to get to the size of some room or, like, say, toilet, which is always recognizable in any floor plan. But this is 400 meters, so it's like 4 football pitches, one next to the other.
It's just 9 seconds with the C2 from 0 to the quarter mile.
Yes, this is the scale of the motion of the fast cars.
The core of our company is the R&D. The hundreds of engineers that are imagining and developing and designing and testing then our products, batteries, cars, whatever. So the R&D part of the facility is really, I would say, the heart of the whole campus. And making the engineers happy is one of the top priorities, and having them in an environment where they can work extremely efficiently and, you know, focus on their work and enjoy being there. So how did you translate that into the building?
The R&D is very interesting building. It's located over here, which little bit changed it from the competition. We have two atriums, which are, each of them is unique. One is planted with inside trees and forest, and the other one is like big assembly hall for your all engineers. Yeah, so they can all meet in all hands meetings, but they are directly linked to the restaurant. So somehow this building is really open with the beautiful views to the forest, to the lake, to the castle, and to the south. But also having in mind that people have to have bilateral light. So we made these atriums so they can have light in the offices from two sides. In our office, we are much smaller than Rimac. We are 60 people in the office, but we all lunch together. And we think the lunch is something that relates to family. And this is the reason why the centerpiece in the Rimac campus will be a restaurant, not an R&D building, not a factory, not a car, but lunch.
Maybe an interesting part there is, some of you might know that I don't eat meat. And of course, I don't want to force anybody in the company to stop eating meat, but an interesting little thing is that I wanted to have here like sheep and cows running around, so that the people see through the glass, you know, this little nice cows, and, you know, like they pet them, and then think about what happens based on their choices when that poor animal ends up on their plate. They still have the choice to do it, but have a more direct connection with it. I think one huge advantage of our company is that the people can see the products that they're making. So I want them like coming to work and then mingling around to see, you know, cars being around, batteries, motors, and so on. So this square area and lake and restaurant area, like it's really a meeting point where everything comes together. We can put cars there, customers can come there, right? How did you imagine that part?
So we imagined like this is like some very open and public space where people from the factory, people from the R&D building are meeting with the people who are just getting to the campus as average visitors. So from there they could enter directly into museum. They could also go and mix with you on a lunch, which I think is also something cool, that you have never a restaurant like closed after working hours, but people who are in museum can go to the restaurant and see what Rimac people are eating. So I think it's a great exchange of ideas.
Actually, this will probably be the only automotive research facility which will not have a fence.
So from the west to the east, we have different amenities. First is museum. Next to museum, we have a cafe bar, then large restaurant. From the restaurant, we have barber shop, veterinarian, small kiosk, and small shop for different amenities. So I think it's the openness of the campus is very important for the culture of the company, and also influence from the Rimac to society.
And also from here you have this open view towards the castle.
Yeah.
I hope, you know, it will not be the ruin it is currently, but that we or the city or somebody will improve it, so that there is a beautiful view from the campus to the castle and from the castle to the campus. Because we also paid a lot of attention and worked with the conservators to not, let's say, impact negatively the cultural heritage of the castle.
Yeah, we were limited by height of the castle roofs, and also we by spreading this into two buildings, we somehow made this central access. So from the castle, you're not blocking horizon, so it still breathes.
So the base of the castle's roof was the maximum height for our facilities.
I didn't mention the racetrack. It goes all around the property.
We didn't mention the most important part.
Yeah, but we found in your brief that company Rimac is serious and crazy. That is this balance. And from this balance, we thought, okay, these guys like to drift. So let's
There was actually a requirement that has to be a drift corner, a mandatory drift corner. If you go there, you have to drift. My favorite spot of the campus. Yeah, the drift corner could be one. Let's see. Definitely not the gym. That's not going to be my favorite part. Probably, I think the production area. Currently, with the separate locations that we have, it's, I really have to plan to go to the production facility because it's half an hour drive there, half an hour drive back. I need to plan, which meetings can I have in the car while driving there to lose minimum amount of time. Here it's great when it's everything together. Like if you have a light meeting, just put your AirPods into the ears, have a 15-minute walk around the facility and you see what's going on. And I think that's amazing that anybody in the company, and that's what we really want to encourage, that the engineers and the office staff and the support functions, that all of them, just take a walk through the facility, ask the guys on the shop floor, how is it going, what's going wrong, where do you need help? That's where you see all the problems. And having that close and together, it's key. We wanted to provide a great experience to our visitors and foreign employees that join us, not just in the company, but also to help them with accommodation. So we wanted a great place for them to stay overnight. So when they come for a meeting, our customers from different companies, like from another car company, or an employee comes from half across the world before he or she finds accommodation to stay with the company. So, Marko, how did you solve that?
I think in brief, it was more like to design a hotel somewhere on the site, because we thought, okay, we have this perfect balance between these three buildings. We hidden the restaurant and all the amenities that should not be striking out. So where do we go with the hotel? So instead of making hotel, we propose to make a small, small village, like structures, wooden buildings, that people could live on a, how it's called, glamping. You're coming to the glamping site and you can accommodate, find some friends, get to know whole place during the first 1 or 2 months staying. And also we made a little bit community house where they have a fireplace and where they have a place where they can meet each other during the night when the factory maybe is not working fully or the R&D building is completely empty. So these people can make a little community. So thinking about sustainability, it's important to make compact buildings to reduce the amount of sunlight heating up the building. We try to bring in a lot of natural daylight to reduce the electrical light, also to use as much as possible natural ventilation, to reduce the draft of the air in the offices. We also had consultancies from Germany, top tech company, to advise us how to do this.
With less technology to build a better environment.
Better environment. Then use a lot of energy sources like groundwater as much as possible, and to reduce the use of fossil fuels and materials which are not recyclable.
Such a huge project is so complex to do in the design, then realization, the paperwork, and especially in Croatia, paperwork sometimes takes much longer than expected. It took much longer than expected here from the first time when we started to work on it. So it's a little bit difficult to talk about timing. We want to be able to move the first parts of the production into the production building end of 2022, beginning of 2023. I hope that the whole thing will be finished until end of 2023, but let's see. I did say that with a big, subject to many things going in the right direction, plus securing the capital we need to do this. This is a huge chunk of money just for the building. Without any production equipment, without any infrastructure, it's about 110-120 million euros. Just for the first phase of the buildings, without some extension that we might plan, plus more than 100 million euros in additional equipment like testing equipment, production facility, production lines, machining, the IT equipment, the furniture and so on. So it's a sizable investment of hundreds of millions. So things can always go wrong, but let's hope for the best.
It's very exciting to work on such a big scale campus. There are so many new things we learned with Rimac and the consultancies, and I hope that the basic sketch will be translated as much in reality as we do in other projects. So we are well known that our renderings look like a final building, so I hope also in some such a scale we are going to repeat this technology.
Just push print on the screen and there it is.
There it is. But,
Marko, thank you so much for joining this episode with us, but also, especially for doing this journey with us. It's an amazing journey. When we are done with it, I think we can be very proud on it, and I hope that a lot of other people will be proud of it and enjoy it. That it will give lots of excitement and pleasure to many people that will work here and come here to see their products being made or to pick them up, to bring them all around the world. I think it's something really special, and despite all the challenges in the end, I hope here we'll have a beer together and finally it's done. So thank you all for watching. I hope you like our campus. I hope that many of you will see it and experience it in person, maybe even come to work in it. Share our vision, share our journey, which is an exciting one and difficult one, but rewarding. Thanks, and like always, see you next time.